Ladies and gentlemen, this is Frank Donga, and you're listening to Boom Radio. Boom Radio. Keep listening. Don't touch it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is Boomba right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Oladoluko, and I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. It promises to be very interesting one today. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things. The Ogoni 9, if I'm correct, they're in the news as President Tinubu seems to be having a conversation around that. We're also going to be talking about Edo State. Today is the official inauguration. They got a new governor. There's a new change of governor and government, if you understand. But if you don't, just sit back, relax, as we'll get into it as well. There's also, crime issues or security issues, one of the two, and Nigerians have carried themselves again. Or some Nigerians I decided to carry themselves again and showcase themselves to the world in a very unpleasant ways. But so that and a lot of other things we're going to be talking about today at the bar. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we get into today's show. My name is Oladolupo once again, and I'm here with Shala Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a pleasure to be at the bar. We apologize for not coming through yesterday, but it's good that we're here now, so tell someone to tell someone. Let's get together.
Okay, so we're getting straight into it. First things first, this conversation, according to the presidential spokesperson, that the president has decided, has talked about honoring the Ogoni 9. So, according to them, for the longest of times, a few young people would have to go into history books to understand what the Ogoni 9. Apparently, there are some journalists, about 9 journalists that were killed in some very funny matter where it was alleged, or not alleged actually, was said that the administration of former head of state Sonny Abacha had executed the activists led by Ken Saro-Wiwa, and they were charged for murder on some it was a very, very funny conversation. And I know it's something that a lot of people have always talked about, especially people from the Niger Delta. So what they're saying is that what the presidential spokesperson was talking about, the president has said that they're looking at how to address this historical grievances and how to help build a united, prosperous nation. They're talking about honoring the people of Ken Saro-Wiwa, Saturday Dobe, Nodu Eawo, Daniel Boko, Paul Levera, Felix Noate, Barry Bobera, Barry Nem Kilbel, and John Queenie. I'm not sure if I pronounced that properly.
I'm not sure you did too. I'm not sure. In fact, I'm sure. You know what? To be very, very honest with you, I didn't see this one coming. It's a welcome development for someone like me. I like the fact that there are some matters that you would have just given up on, like, oh, these people have died in vain. Mm-hmm. Everything that went down, and of course there was nobody out there to at least give their families closure and some kind of, honor. Like, look, we all knew what the military was about. The military was all about dictatorship and having their own way. And sadly, a lot of people from that era are still stuck in that military hangover that they think those things are okay. I'm glad that with democracy, we're able to change things around. Mm-hmm. This is a fantastic move by President Bola Tinubu. majorly, a lot of people in the South will definitely be happy about this.
Yeah, it seems like we're getting to a point, and it might sound just very superficial, but I think that it actually might really heal some wounds, maybe give a bit of closure to the people of Niger Delta. Take, for example, I will take us back just a few years. I remember the reaction a lot of people from the Southwest got when former President Buhari had changed Democracy Day from May 29th to June 12th.
June 12th.
That it now became like an official holiday, and Democracy Day. It's a date that a lot of people always. Anyway, the Southwest always celebrated it, but it was something that a lot of people up till now, even what's it called now, foreign media and foreign countries always seem to attest to it, that it's basically was the freest and fairest election Nigeria has ever had and all that. And I think that with the kind of the swell of acceptance that he got from the Southwest for that singular moment, it might actually be what you might see with this particular incident.
You're basically looking at it as a political move?
Maybe. It could be, but the honest truth is, for honest truth, I think it is a political move, but would he look good on his part? Yes. And I feel that, especially people that need closure from those things, they would have accepted it a long time before they now realize, okay, this thing was a political move. Do you get my point? They would have already accepted, which, political move or not, it is actually a good thing anyway. Even if there's an ulterior motive to it, it's not a bad move. So, maybe we should just take the win and move.
All right, take the win and move. Excuse me. Take the win and move is what Tolubo has said. And, of course, we are basically talking about the Ogoni 9. If you notice one thing about agitations that have lasted for decades or years, once there's this kind of move, all the agitations die.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard anybody shout about June 12th? That June 12th.
Do you get my
June 12th,
point?
that,
Exactly.
You know? So it's beyond politics. It's even more about soothing frayed nerves and mending.
And especially, let's be honest with ourselves. There's a lot of I don't know if I think personally, I think that at the moment we're past one Nigeria. I think that at the moment we should be looking for ways to cohabit. What's the word now? Cohabit peacefully. Let's get from that before we get to one Nigeria, and that's the honest truth. But I think that these tiny little things might actually help. I really honestly think it might help. It might not seem like a lot, but I think it would help. Like you said, it will bring a lot of closure to not just the immediate family, but people around that area. And they know that they're basically part of the agitations. There's always been agitations from the Niger Delta and how they've been treated. And that was basically the bane of the issue of how. Even though I would still say that the Niger Delta leaders or the people that are in charge of places like things like agencies like the NDDC have not covered themselves in a lot of glory. But that one is story for another day. But really and truly, I think that it might be just what to do at the moment. That's it. Now, also moving on from that, still talking about President Tinubu. However, President Tinubu is said to have left Riyadh on his way back to Nigeria now. There's been a lot of talk about him attending the Arab Islamic Summit and all that. But anyway, the man has gone and come back. At times, when I hear people have a lot of conversations about it, we're not an Islamic state, we're not this, we're not that. Maybe I'm too much of a bottom line person. And the bottom line is the man has gone and is on his way back. There's nothing you're going to do about it. I don't know. Am I too much of a bottom line person?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily being a bottom line person. We claim to be a secular state. That's what Nigeria claims to be. Mm-hmm. But you look at your currency and there are, images and symbols of religion. You look at our biggest holidays, they are all centered around religion. We have official events in Nigeria, and they have opening prayer on the list. You get. So how much of a secular state are we, or are we just religious when we want to be and secular when we want to be? If anybody can answer that, you understand why Nigeria would have to attend the meeting that she attended yesterday, that the president also, of course, was there physically with his entourage and all of that. And maybe if there was a similar meeting from some Christian nation now centered around religion too, Nigeria will probably attend
as well.
You know? So I like the dynamic situation in this country, but I am confounded by the supposed secularity. Like, oh, you're secular. You get it. But if you're secular, then some states should not be preventing traditional worshippers from worshiping their God.
Yeah.
You know?
Basically, me, I'm just, he has gone and come back. Let's move on. Like, it's not going to change anything, at least not change anything at the moment. Are we going to always continue to, like you said, have opening prayers and all those things? Oh, yes, we will continue to have it. And I think the idea of being circular is let everybody have the opportunity to do whatever it is they want to do. We're not a Christian country. We're not. Sadly, there are a lot of states that claim to be Islamic. There's things like Sharia law that works in some states, which, if we really are circular, some things should never have happened. But I don't know if those things
secular state, but the religion of the current president and the vice president
was a
major talking point.
Was a topic. In fact, it's still a topic from every now and then. It definitely still is a topic. But anyway, we'll see where we're going. Anyway, President Tinubu is on his way back, and I'm still talking about President Tinubu now. Now, there's been a lot of conversation where a lot of people have had to say a lot of things about what the FCT minister is doing in Abuja. And they're saying that there's a lot of pressure on the president to stop him. So what the FCT minister is doing is he's saying that there's a lot of shanties in Abuja that need to be taken out. Apparently, according to Timmy Frank, who used to be the former Deputy National Public Secretary of the APC, is saying that he's targeting homes that, some Wike is targeting homes of the poor, and alleged that the minister is profiting from reallocating revoked land plots to his allies. Now, I have an issue with this. So I saw a few pictures of some of this, and they're actually pretty much just shanties, that contraptions that a lot of people have been living in for years.
Okay.
Now, my question is, I don't know if you saw a couple of days ago, I think it was yesterday, pictures of a lot of things that happened in I think over 80 shanties that were destroyed under Akponwo Bridge. Remember something like that happened around Dolphin like a couple of months ago, and how people were living there. There were people that were interviewed, and they said because rent was expensive, some people have been living there for about 20 years. There's even someone that had constructed toilets and was transferring. There were pipes that was going straight into the lagoon.
Yeah, the matter of shanties is what.
So my question is, what's the difference between what the FCT minister is doing in Abuja and what the Commissioner of Environment is doing in Lagos? Okay, so still needs adjustment. So John asked, like, what is the difference between what? I know that when this whole thing first also started in Lagos, there was a lot of hue and cry. Some people don't have accommodation and all that. But does that also mean that we should continue with lawlessness?
Okay, for me, I'm going to look at it, and try to mix things up so that we can draw parallels. If you're looking for the most planned state or city in Nigeria, it is Abuja.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a master plan for Lagos. I presume there are master plans for other major cities in Nigeria. I assume. But we're all sure that Abuja has a master plan.
Oh, yeah.
And in keeping to that master plan, you will be very sure that there will be no shanties planned along the areas where they are popped up. Mm-hmm. There's a thing that I've noticed about real estate. For every expensive expanse of land, for every estate, there's a slum. It's a standard. I don't know how it happens. And I started thinking maybe it's because their service providers, their staff, and other people who want to provide ancillary services and all sorts of things will be in close proximity to the target market. Do you get? Mm-hmm. You find that some of the expensive parts, especially in Lagos and Abuja and other places, the real markets are in the slummy part of it. Do you get?
Yeah.
So that is one thing that is like 5 and 6, But that does not mean that a state or a city that has a master plan should not be, kept in tip-top shape. Abuja is Nigeria's finest city, and it will be nice if they kept to the master plan. Now, over the years, people seem to have forgotten that a certain Nasir El-Rufai was in charge of the city. It's the same things that they are saying about Wike that they were saying about him then.
Yeah.
But the truth is eventually people come to say, you know what, this man is doing the right thing and he's gotten the city back on track. And it looks, I don't know if this is an indictment on all the ministers that have come after El-Rufai in Abuja. It looks like most of them went to sleep. That's what it looks like to me. I was watching a video of Yenson Wike addressing people in this so-called shanties and slums. And he was talking about how that particular area where it was a few days ago had received 22 notices to quit in the past. Not one, not two, not three, 22. And the people there agreed. They were like, yeah. It's like, you know what? You're not supposed to be here, but I'm going to nominate 5 people from the government side, the police, DSS, ministry, and you also nominate 5 people, and let's have a meeting about it. But please stop going to all those people and all those social media people because it's not going to work. The truth is, whether you like Wike or not, whether you like Tinubu or not, even if it was an Atiku that had become president and he wanted to do the right thing, I'm sure whoever he appointed would definitely be bringing down a lot of shanties and even structures that have been constructed without proper documentation. And if they're going to take over a structure that has documentation, the person has the right to go to court because at least there's government that give you C of O. Mm-hmm. As against when you probably just bought land from some family that claims to own it and you don't have the government papers to back it up. So in bringing out those shanties and all of that and all the other houses, Timmy Frank, I think is being political there. He's playing a lot of politics. He's a PDP person. And, of course, they criticize from the angle of politics. They never, and I get it, that's the way it's meant to be, or else they'll be seen to be endorsing the government that they are trying to replace. But on this one, I think that if we want to do the right thing, they should allow Wike, follow the master plan of Abuja, and people should be careful how they just build houses without permission.
Exactly. So I honestly think that as much as it might not be fair, a lot of people are on the road and all that. However, this might sound mean, but if you cannot afford to live in a place, go back to where you're coming from. It does not make any sense. Explain to me how living in shanties, how living under the bridge, and we are the same people that will say that mega city. How do you see all these things in so-called cities that you admire? No, you don't.
Be careful. It's happening now everywhere. Have you
No,
seen
what I mean that
have you seen videos from Paris? Have
no,
you seen
no,
other
no.
parts
You
of
don't
America?
understand. Like I said, I'm not saying that not the whole of America. I'm saying that in cities that you actually admire.
Yeah, it's happening in those cities
In
now.
some of these things, I think that Paris is one of the dirtiest places anyway. I'm just saying that the places that we would admire, you say, oh, everybody's always going on about Lagos this, Lagos that, Lagos. Speaking of Lagos, there's a lady that is being dragged out because of the things that she said about Lagos. Do you understand? I'm just saying that if we want a certain kind of standard, it comes with a lot of things. It comes with a lot of sacrifices, whether we like it or not.
There's a lady that Dolupo referred to. I think she's definitely not bringing it up, but yeah, it's in line with what we're discussing. A nurse who had tweeted yesterday about how dirty Lagos was referring to Lekki as being dirty and smelly, and and everybody smells and all of that. And of course, people got angry and they came for her, while some people also supported her and all of that. And I just think
she works with Lagos State.
Oh yeah, she's a nurse. But a lot of people have said that she's gonna lose her job. They're asking for government to sack her.
Would you doubt?
For
Would you?
And some
if
people,
it's a private company, would you not sack such a person?
And some people, it depends. And some people are also saying that they're going to get her a job.
Wait, hold on, please hold on.
I need to finish what I'm saying. In the US and the UK, that some people said that, look, if they sack you, or even if they don't, we're going to get you a job abroad and everything.
Are you going to fly abroad?
Yes, they actually fly abroad.
Okay.
Yeah, you get on a plane and fly.
Okay.
So the thing is that, as much as I would never say such, maybe because you need to read the room and understand that everything you put out also has some kind of effect on your country and your state and where you live and work. There are elements of truth in some of those things. And the reason why they are is that the influx of people to Lagos is too much for Lagos to take.
Yeah. The amount of waste that Lagos generates from people
is taken into, and the sad part is that when they say Lagos, they now tribalize it on both sides. So when someone says Lagos is smelling, I was reading comments from the ladies' Twitter, and so people like, oh no, that it's Yoruba people. You get, if you take a census of the people in Lagos, it's not 100% Yoruba people.
Oh yeah.
You get, Lagos State Commissioner for Environment has been arresting a lot of people for open defecation. If you take a status or a data
census of those people,
data, they already have the numbers. If you take a data and check their tribes and ethnic orientations, you will find out that it's not about tribe. Do you get? So one of the things that I would like to say is that let us refrain from being tribalistic about everything or political about everything. But yes, the air quality in Lagos, in some parts of Lagos State releases that report from time to time.
It's not great.
It leaves a lot to question. And it's still down to industrialization and overpopulation.
Yeah, what is causing it? Other governors have decided to be...
Everybody's dumping on Lagos. During the COVID era, do you know how many people would leave their states to come to Lagos for treatment?
In Lagos, yeah.
As if there were no isolation centers in those states.
And
now that the state government is also offering free medical services.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
For pregnant women and other things. How many people do you think are actually resident in Lagos so the truth is that you cannot point your finger and say Lagos is this without asking yourself, you have been dropping stuff on the street. You have not been disposing your trash properly. You don't use PSP. You use those truck guys who take trash and dump it in the canals and the gutters and everywhere. Look, the truth is that you point your finger. Like they say, when you point one, check how many is coming back at you, And these are the issues.
Sorry to cut you short. There was something that you had said earlier that I didn't want to forget. So I'm still going back to the fact that Lagos is dirty or not is part of the conversation here. However, if it's a private company and you work, you get paid by that company, and your video is out of you demarketing that company. Explain to me what explanation you want to give that you will not be sacked.
So again, like I said, it depends.
On what?
If you have taken it upon yourself to be that kind of critic, if the company looks at it and says, okay, what? This person is actually correct, and they decide to turn a new leaf or improve upon it or invite you to say, okay, what are the things that you've seen and how can we do it better? You might not get fired.
And those things could not be done. You had to put it on social media. And I don't think
your thoughts are your thoughts.
True, Sha. Because I don't think
you can't lord them over the rest of us.
That's why I get your point. I do not think any private company will sit back and watch you demarket their company. But of course, it's government. Everybody wants, it does not look bad. See, I do not. Lagos being dirty is not the honest truth is everywhere is dirty, and that's the truth. One of the major issues with Lagos, in fact, Lagos is way cleaner than a lot of more states. Even that is with now the extreme the inflated or the extreme population that there is in Lagos State. Honest truth is, if we reduce the amount of people coming to Lagos State to reduce the waste that is generated, and it will automatically reduce. That is standard. That we all already know. However, I would say that social media these days, it's almost like as if people do not have sense. There's no explanation you want to give someone like me and tell me that even if you think there's something wrong with your company, going on social media to demarket that company that pays your bills, literally, is the best way to put out your grievances. But we have to just open our mouth and say all sorts of things. That same lady now, I've seen old tweets about her going off about Igbo people. If you want to marry someone, don't marry an Igbo person. If you want to this, don't marry an Igbo person. If you want to do business and you don't want to this, go marry an Igbo person.
Please,
this person has a problem. Yeah, I'm quoting
what the lady said. Oh,
yeah.
So I know what I'm doing, Dolupo. She's quoting what the nurse that we're discussing about said. The same nurse that was allegedly or openly demarketing Lagos.
What does that tell me? This person, does not seem to have a lead or does not consult a lot of her brain before she tweets. And it is very, very common with a lot of people. Now, the worst part is that you now see someone that seems to have a way of doing things. We see someone that has a pattern of bad behavior. The worst part that social media does now is we start, what's the word now? Glorifying and rewarding such bad behavior. And that's the one that irks me the most. Like, how is it okay for you to feel that? And I know that it's not going to stop anytime soon because, of course, data is cheap and every time they can hire you as a smartphone that you can tweet from and all that. However, when are we going to have sense and know that some things are just completely out of place? You cannot be getting paid by Lagos State and you don't have anything good to. You're literally being one of the highest, if not the highest paid civil servants in the country. Federal and state joined together. In your level, you're probably one of the highest paid people in the country. And that's the honest truth. But you're going to say it and then you don't have anything else to say than to demarket the people paying you. Please. Anyway, Sha. Welcome. Goodbye to the local state talk. Have sense. Hashtag have sense. Just have a bit of sense. It doesn't hurt at times. It really doesn't. People just need to try it a little bit more often. Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that, we're going to Edo State. You might be wondering what's happening. They say, they got a new governor today. There is a new governor. There's a new change of government. There's a new party in charge of Edo State now. Edo State election has been a long time coming, especially with all the drama back and forth. There was still a bit of drama up until yesterday. if I'm correct. There was a drama a few days ago that the governor has run away, that you know, a lot of things back and forth, and how, no, I think it was the elections. It was before the elections that this governor now, the one that was inaugurated today, does not know how to speak English, and that's why he didn't go to interviews. The elections itself, oh God, the elections were something. Then people stolen mandates, and people, or the drama between the governor and the governor with two deputy governors. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
All that drama back and forth. Anyway, they have a new governor today.
Yeah, Edo State is still in the news, hopefully for the good reasons now. The immediate past governor, whose tenure ended a few hours ago, had ended on a high note by signing, the release of some prisoners who he said they had a few months to go
less than a year
their sentence and all of that, which I like. It's prison decongestion, something that Nigeria needs to ramp up. So I like that. And there were also talks of him. There's a video of him addressing people and talking about how he was not invited to the inauguration of his successor, who is from a different party.
So, sorry, 1 second. Just wanted to ask a question with what you said now. So, I'm not sure that I really ever sat down through an inauguration before. Are we saying that according to Nigerian constitution, there's really no need for a former governor or a handover?
The handovers are done
before. Like, the way we see with presidential...
There's a transition committee that's set up by the incoming and the outgoing, and that's your real handover.
No, so but you know that really happens with presidential as well. But there's kind of like a ceremonial handover that we see that one president does to another. Are we saying that it doesn't happen with governors? Oyetola
was replaced by Adeleke. Do you recall him handing anything?
That's why I said that I'm not sure that really
it's
ever
not a
paid.
Thing.
Okay.
It's not a
so
thing.
It's really just about president.
He has no ceremonial role to play it's more of a swearing in. And it's the Chief Justice that is actually required with the partner of the incoming governor.
Okay.
So I don't think that him being there, would have made any difference.
No, okay.
However, they're still contesting the election anyway. So doesn't he see it as some kind of endorsement? I'm wondering why you're talking about someone coming in when your party is still going to contest if the person is... with a stolen mandate or not. So at times, I just say politicians are just
but whether they're contesting it or not is not going to stop the inauguration.
So why would you want to attend it? Isn't that some kind of endorsement, acknowledging? You are saying you don't agree this guy is governor.
Yeah.
And you want to attend this
I get your
inauguration.
point, because he was really going on about how they didn't invite him. There was even talks about alleging that the APC had borrowed money for the inauguration, and I think I get your point, because one of the things that I noticed, or one of the things that maybe in my head I'm like, okay, why is there a conversation? What's your business with why are you so involved in another person's government going in? You're leaving, you should live on a high. You spent 8 years already. What else is left? Abi? Because at that point, I'm like, okay, so what does this daddy want? Like, he's talking too much at this point, but what do I know?
At times, you get hit by the reality that, man, it's actually over. 8 years of immunity, 8 years of being the go-to guy, 8 years of being the main guy. I remember something that my friend Akbar Jalingo had written about one of the governors from his state. I think that's a Cross River state. And how, the outgoing governor had come with, a massive entourage and everything. Mm-hmm. And when he was leaving that inauguration, he left with virtually just his own car and maybe one or two, while he had an entire convoy with him when he was coming in. And it was at the ground that allegiances switched. Everybody had switched to the new guy.
It's a system. Everybody moves.
So at the end of the day, they come to that reality that they're no longer, the powers.
That I saw a video today, which I don't think that is very fair on a lot of people, on Governor Obaseki or former governor. Oh, wow. Former governor. Wow. Anyway, there's a video where he was, I think there was rift between the PDP's former national chairman and him, where he was actually making threats about how if this person does anything again, he will show him who the original Edo State governor is. I'm like, okay, that just really changes. However, I don't think that they actually ever really remember, or maybe the power is so much that they never really, or they forget that this thing ends one day.
Exactly.
Because the honest truth these days, the kind of power that governors have, at times even presidents cannot do some of these things.
So Governor Okpebholo has also gone ahead to immediately announce the appointment of a chief press secretary. And Nigerian media, they just like sensationalism. The person's surname is Itwa. You get. And there was a gubernatorial candidate by the name Itwa Igodalo.
No,
so,
gubernatorial candidate.
Yeah, for another party now.
No. Itwa Igodalo is not the brother of Aswe.
Yeah, sorry. There was a presidential, thank you for the correction. Aswe Godalo contested. His brother's name is Itwa. Now, Nigerian media have gone ahead to write an headline. Okpebholo appoints Itwa. And I'm like, you definitely want to read that story. So yeah, I read the story.
And then you'd ask
and
like,
a guy whose surname is actually ends as Itwa. I think his name is Frederick or something. He's the chief press secretary. And a lot of people have already commended the governor for, appointing him and all of that. But Nigerian media, you guys are bad.
You know what you're doing. You definitely know what you're doing.
So you would have seen it at Itwake. Did he dump his brother, to go get this appointment?
Anyway, it's interesting. Talking about politics and all that, we're moving from that to a neighboring state of Ondo State, which their own elections is on Saturday. Whoop, whoop. They might be getting a new governor or have the incumbent who used to be the deputy governor as the governor on Saturday, or maybe later Sunday or Monday, we would know. But it is interesting news as former President Olusegun Obasanjo visited the governor ahead of the Ondo gubernatorial polls.
Yeah, it's interesting because President Obasanjo claims to have left the PDP.
Yeah.
He made a public show of it.
Definitely not a fan of the APC.
But he has never supported any APC person. I don't think he has. But he's, at the last election, he was, of course, supporting Peter Obi. Then Peter Obi was actually in Ondo 2 days ago, I think. Yeah. Today is Wednesday, right? Was today Tuesday? I think it was yesterday or so. He was in Ondo to campaign for the Labour Party candidate. And you'd have thought that that's the person that Obasanjo would go meet. But him going to meet the incumbent who is also contesting on Saturday looks like some kind of endorsement.
Yeah, looks very
to me, looks like an endorsement. But again, what effect would this endorsement really have?
The honest truth,
really have
me,
maybe for photo ops and some kind of thing, but because does it build any kind of influence in Ondo?
If you really look at
being an Oguman.
If you really look at it, maybe it's just my perception. I don't even think that former President Olusegun Obasanjo holds that much influence politically anyway. I might be wrong. And why I said so is, for someone that was a military president, was also basically Nigeria's first, after all the series of coups and all that, first democratic president since 1999, seemed to have some serious influence up until 2007 and maybe beyond. And then if you follow elections, since that time, other than I think after the PDP finally left power in 2015, even before that time, his influence had already been dwindling. But after 2015, that former President Buhari came in, there has really not been anyone he has supported that has really done so much. We not once, not twice have we seen him even lose polling units in front of his house. His child wanted, I think, lost her election, I think, to the as a senator or something like. So it's not. There's really, even in Ogun State, how much of political relevance does he have anymore? Now, talk less of in Ondo State. And at times, I don't know if it's a good look on him. This is someone that is very vocal about not liking the president. Of course, we know they're not in best books, and all that. What are you doing with the governor of an APC state? I don't think it looks good on him, whatever it is, but whatever his plans are. But as an elder statesman, I think you should stick to your guns. That's Misha. Anyway, moving on from that, we're going to move on from a bit of politics and do a bit of security issues. First things first, the Nigerian Defence Academy opens applications for the 77th regular course. So for anybody that wants to go to the army, I think this should work now. Anyway, NAFDAC assists counterfeit wines worth 41.2 million naira in Nasarawa state. So there was basically a raid where we saw them in shops. It was really crazy, and they're all counterfeit wines. It's really bad. They're saying that the major wine shops in Maraba Market and the new Yanya and Massacre areas of Nasarawa state.
Now, if you understand how the Federal Capital Territory is structured, you will find that most of these places are assumed to be directly linked or somehow linked to Abuja.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people who work in Abuja actually live in Yanya and all these Marabas and all of that. So, yeah, a lot of these drinks will find their way into Abuja one way or the other.
I think
the value that they've seized is very, very minimal compared to how big that market would be. The painful part for me is how, the dollar has jacked everything up. Now, these people who are counterfeiting, they just put all sorts of concoctions together, and they're killing people.
Honestly,
they're killing people.
We're getting to a point where, even doctors will say that we should drink water. Maybe we should just just stick to water.
Don't say it before they'll start faking water too now.
Is there no fake water? Not today.
It's really sad though.
It is.
But I want to say kudos to NAFDAC and the police and all of that, all the people involved because
in all that.
We've been clamoring for this just a few days before that in a neighboring state. I think it was Borno or Bauchi. So they actually seized counterfeit. What are these items that they use on the farm again?
What?
The pesticides.
Oh, wow.
They're counterfeiting that too. They're making fake versions of that.
And
that could have a massive effect on food production.
On food production and the kind of things that goes into the food. One, I know that I don't want to sound naive, but the honest truth is that it actually does cross my mind. Like, is it that you just sit down and say, okay, this pesticide, the business is that we're going to counterfeit it. That's the business of the day.
That's what they do. They just look for items that seem to be doing well in the market, that there's a high demand, and they go fake it, and they don't even care. They just want to make their money. The effort that they put into faking at times, you just wonder how.
Right? Why can't you just
go the
make
extra
your
strength
own?
and make your own?
Exactly. Just make your own. It's really not that deep. But
so shout out to the Food and Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the other tax forces and agencies that work directly with them.
Okay, now still talking about that. Interestingly, EFCC has announced that they have successfully convicted 50 people for currency racketeering and the dollarization in just 2024 alone.
Yeah, in that report, the head of the EFCC is meeting with the National House of Assembly Committee, that has oversight functions on his own agency. He mentioned a Nigerian, a guy who's from Niger Republic, who recently got married in Kano, Nigeria, and of course is on tape to be abusing the naira and all of that.
They also talked about how they've been able to reduce, and reduce the propensity to abuse the naira and create a lot of awareness around, dignifying the usage of the naira.
The honest truth, I think that it has actually worked to a large extent.
And the chairman of the EFCC also said that he knows that a lot of people are still committing those crimes. He also talked about Bob Risky and how they handled it, and how he, as a person, has ensured that a couple of people have been dismissed since he became chairman about a year ago. My own thing here is that we really need more professionals in these agencies, because we need to move from, when they said 50, I'm like, can't you do more? Can't you prosecute more people? I'm sure there are more people, committing these crimes and all of that. Can't you do more in that regard? And there are one or two celebrities that we've seen videos of them who were actually spraying, which they said it's a crime, right? It's bad, it's wrong. But they're still flying now, and those things are out there, and those people are walking free. Again, where is the former governor of Kogi State? Where is he? Those are the kind of cases that we really are hoping that they can actually, bring to book, because I don't know how this is playing out and how the EFCC or the DSS are comfortable with the person.
With that, yeah. Now, moving on quickly, still talking about all this. Interestingly, the United States has announced a $25,000 bounty for information leading to the arrest of a Nigerian.
Yeah, so in 2017...
oh, Lord, my God.
In 2017, there was a report against this man. He had a child, an infant, his son, that he had been abusing physically. The boy had over 18 injuries. And what they did was that they arrested the father, Oluyemisi, or whatever his name is.
Olalekon Abimbola Olawusi.
Olawusi, yeah. And so they arrested him, and they released him the same day on bail, and he disappeared that same day. Since 2017, then 6 months after, the son now died. So whatever they were even going to charge him with, it's aggravated now and it's stepped up. But they've not, caught a whiff of him since 2017 when he disappeared. And I have a feeling that guy is out of there.
Yep.
Out of the country. He's not in America anymore. That's my hunch. That's what I feel. So they, added him to the list of 15 most wanted fugitives in America, this Nigerian. And they put a bounty of $25,000 on his head.
Nice. So some people just want to chat. Anyway, we'll move on from
You're
that.
abusing a child that is, even any child, nobody, even adults, nobody deserves to be abused.
Nobody, definitely nobody.
Inflicted injuries on an infant to the point where the child actually
3-month-old
dies.
baby. Anyway, we'll move on from that. Let's talk a bit of business before we leave, and maybe, if time permits us, a bit of sports. Now, IPMAN and Dangote Refinery has officially struck a deal to direct sales for direct sales. What that means is that what they're saying officially is that all this back and forth, NNPC is officially out, or more like NNPC is now the same with what IPMAN is now to Dangote Refinery. Everybody is just buying fuel from Dangote Refinery from now on.
Congratulations, Dangote Refinery, on your recent victories everywhere. Sadly, as a Nigerian, I am not excited.
That's my own. Like, would it reduce the price
of
fuel?
You have talked about the quality of your fuel. We won't argue with that. You have lab tests to show. But you see, sir, we Nigerians were hoping that your refinery was going to bring down the cost of the pump price. Like we always said, we knew it wasn't going to go back to where it was, but not as high as what it is now. And I know, yeah, they'll tell you about market forces, but you all made promises and sold us some kind of dummy, man. It's all right. You people should enjoy your wealth. Nigeria go survive.
Okay.
I am just not happy. That's all. Because we're spending hundreds of thousands of naira to fuel our vehicles and our generators. As we speak, we're running this whole gig here with a generator.
Now moving on from that, it's said that the federal government is set to exempt minimum wage earners from paying tax. This is part of the conversation. Sorry, microphone.
Yeah. So the paying tax.
So basically, sorry, while you're doing that, basically the conversation is really still back to what the presidential committee on that is part of the conversations that they've been having. Now they're saying that pay as you earn. However, they're talking about how people that do not earn so much, or they earn like minimum wage or just a little bit above minimum wage, would be exempted. They're saying that people that earn about 1.7 million naira in a month or lower than that will be exempted from paying.
Exempted, 1.7 you will pay.
Oh, okay. Yo, sorry. 1.7 million a month. Yeah, people that are above that, basically.
High income earners are still going to be paying. What they've done is just to exempt the
low income
earners, which is a welcome development. All they talk about, expanding the tax net has been misconstrued and politicized again. And, I've done a bit of research, been watching and reading and listening. And this is a good move. Someone who is on a minimum wage or close to it. Of course, we know there's nobody on a minimum wage in Nigeria. So what it means in my own understanding is that even the people who will be on level 3, 4, they will definitely not be paying Paye anymore. Yeah. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Then take that and juxtapose with the tax bill that people were trying to shut down, that will still at least have its day, at the chambers.
Yeah, it's looking like the president is not stepping down on that matter.
It shouldn't.
The one that amazed
it's a game changer.
The one that amazed me the most was the interview of Senator Alindume, where he was asked about the bill, and he's like, it's dead on arrival. Okay, did you actually read it to know what it's about? No, you didn't have to read it. Are you kidding?
The sad part about this thing is that it's not what. That's why I say every time they politicize things without looking at the details of the tax bill. Mm-hmm. The new proposal would actually favor all the other states more than the current state. One of the biggest issues, Dolupo, is, for instance, like the telecoms companies. That most of them, their HQs are in Lagos.
Yeah.
So picture them filing their VAT from Lagos. Meanwhile, their services are used across Nigeria. And what this bill is saying is
you
that
pay tax where you're getting,
where the services are being provided, which means those states will get more. And they're fighting against it.
I think that a lot of them did not understand. However, part of also the things
that's why I say it's always politics.
Looking at is that there's also going to be repeal of the FIRS. There's now going to be the Nigerian Revenue Service. Yeah. Also, there's the revenue collection of agencies like customs and everything. So if you want to pass through things to the border, what they're saying is you're paying directly to the revenue service, then take it to the customs, and the customs clear you.
Another thing that the government has done, being the central collection agency for VAT, they get 15% of it.
Yeah.
They are going to reduce it to 10.
And you know what? When I saw the story of other agencies that are going to be taken away from it, and I remember, was it the customs? There was one that they said animal carried the money or something funny like that. Do you understand? And I'm like, one thing that I also agree with this is that it takes away extra money that people can dipping their hands into. So what that means is, for someone like the customs, if you don't get any extra money other than your running costs and your salaries, you don't have any money to swindle, or that much money to dip your hand in. Do you understand? And all that. So we'll definitely see what is happening in the National Assembly with that matter. Now, also, Professor Okonjo-Iweala has also now been confirmed for second time as the World Trade Organization's DG. Unopposed. Looks like nobody else wants to take the job.
Yeah, I'm so happy for her. She's such an amazing person. And she must be doing something right.
Oh, definitely. Definitely has to be doing something right. Now, quickly, before we go, Let's do a bit of sports. So AFCON qualifiers is happening in a couple of days, and last updates that 11 players are already in camp.
21 now.
Oh, they're now 21. Okay, that was
only Nwabali and one more person has been expected, which means that some people are now asking, should the other goalkeeper get a chance?
Okay, but easy as good. Easy as good.
We'll find out, because sadly they're going to have only 2 training sessions before they play their game on Thursday.
Yeah, they're going to have. So it's down to the coach at the end of the day. We'll see what the coach would agree with. But remember, I think that for those kind of tests, I honestly think that, especially for Benin Republic, we should not do.
It's going to be a tough game.
We should not try some things. Let's stick to the person that we all know.
Basically, she's saying leave Nwabali there.
See, you can do all this your test run when it comes to Rwanda. At that point, you don't need anybody's game. So let everybody do whatever it is they want. But for now, and his bragging rights is Benin Republic. I don't think Benin Republic game is the game that you should be messing around with. But anyway, talking about that, looks like Nigeria is actually on the good side of this international break. Looks like a lot of our players, I think other than the regulars, I think Shemilogo Ajayi seems to be the only one that is not on this bill as you would normally expect, as he's injured. However, it's not the same with a lot of other teams around the world. A lot of international players seem to be withdrawing from international duty. A lot of Premier League players are withdrawing from international duty. Ghana does not have Paye. As of yesterday, 8 England players.
Ghana is missing a lot of players.
A lot of players, actually. I think I saw that list too. England is losing 8 players. 8 players have decided not to play that game. Now, I saw the new lineup and a lot of players that you did not even know. There are a lot of new call-ups because of this. I saw news before we came on that yesterday there was talks of and I remember that Cornelius was going on about this, how Odegaard was why he just got out of injury. Why is he playing in Norway? Apparently he got to Norway and he's back in the back in London, and he's also not playing anymore. A lot of people seem to be opting out of this international duty. The way it's going, is it not time for FIFA to react? Because now, whether we like it or not, there's also now going to be Club World Cup that's going to be added to this mix again.
Yeah, and it's expanded now. There are more clubs that are going to be at the Club World Cup. It's basically looking like the organizers of football, UEFA, CAF, FIFA, and all the other CONMEBOL and the rest, need to look at their calendars and reduce the amount of games that
it's not making sense anymore. It definitely is not making sense. These players seem to be really overwhelmed. Now, at the end of the day, what kind of games do you see that these people play? Now, before we leave, there was talks of Plateau United having some issues a few days ago, where they was said that their fans had attacked the boss of, I can't remember which team it was. Anyway, today it has now been announced. Rangers, yes. Now they've now been fined 4.7 million naira for the crowd violence and also gotten a 3-point deduction for that.
Their own defense, they're claiming that it happened outside the stadium and they had nothing to do with it.
Anyway, maybe we'll see if they would appeal it, but it looks like they've now been docked for that as well. And also talking about a bit of violence, France has now banned Palestinian flags during the Israel and France football match. That happened the last time that happened, and now everybody is saying that, or the conversation is that politics should not have any place in football. And finally, an EPL referee that
I do not talk about.
Oh God. EPL referee got suspended over derogatory remarks about Liverpool Cup, and basically, you saw that video. Final words, what did you think about the video?
I think the name he called club is the name that he should be called. Yeah, that's all.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Boom Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.